Hello, hello. Welcome back to Talk Radio. It's Friday. Finally Friday. And you know what that means? We made it, folks. Another wild, weird, wonderful week is in the books. And now it's time to slow down, look back, laugh a little, and get ready to launch into the weekend. Today is June 20th, 2025, which means we are officially 46.85% through the year. That's 24 weeks and 3 days. Or if you're a numbers nerd like me, 171 days, 4,104 hours, 246,240 minutes, and a staggering 14,774,400 seconds of 2025 already lived. And yet, somehow, it feels like January was 5 years ago and yesterday at the same time. Anyone else feels that? Now, this isn't just your average Friday. No. This is finally Friday. The space where we shake off the stress, rewind the reel on the biggest moments from the week, shout out the MVPs of the moment, and start planting seeds for the weekend ahead. Whether you're driving home, already kicked back, or still grinding toward that finish line, you're in the right place. Here's what's on deck for tonight's episode. We'll kick things off with a weekend review, a quick rewind on Motivational Monday, Tuesdays in Lakewood, Wedgie Wednesday, and Time Warp Thursday. We'll take a peek at weekend plans, both personal and pod related, including updates from the Crow Rules Entertainment front lines. Then it's time for Crow's Corner, my unfiltered thoughts on this week's roller coaster. I'll drop the top 5 things I survived this week because let's be real, sometimes just getting through the chaos is the biggest flex. And you know we're not ending without some fun. It's time for Crow's Weekly Awards. The best, worst, weirdest, and most surprising moments of the past 7 days. But wait, that's not all. Today's episode was going to feature a special 1-hour exclusive interview with none other than Claude Beauty. But that fell through and we had to reschedule. But grab your headphones, refill your coffee, or crack open that first soda of the weekend, because we're about to dive in. This is finally Friday, and it's time to talk radio.
The following is rated TV MA and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
All right, what's up, y'all? Gonna start off just right into it with week in review. So let's rewind the tape and hit the highlights. It's time for our week in review here on Talk Radio. Each night brings a new theme, a new angle, and sometimes a new existential crisis. Let's break down what went down. We kicked off the week, Motivational Monday, with a reminder that progress isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Whether you're stacking small wins or crawling out of a creative rut, we talked about how just showing up, even messy, tired, and unsure, still counts. There's power in keeping momentum, especially when it feels like nothing's moving. Tuesdays in Lakewood. On Tuesday, we got local. Tuesdays in Lakewood featured everything from upcoming summer events to hidden gems around the town. We covered community happenings, including summer festivals on the horizon, and spotlighted new creative energy on the streets, including colorful chalk art popping up around the city. We also rolled out a new installment of the Video Yearbook Update, keeping you in the loop on student-led storytelling from our own backyard. Main Street Minute gave us a taste of a local shop revival, small wins for small business. Wedgie Wednesday. Wednesday brought the weird in the best way. Wedgie Wednesday tackled the bold and the bizarre in fashion. With our theme, the Fashion Wedgie Files, we counted down the week's wildest style moments, dissected some chaotic outfit combinations, and wrapped things up with the crowning of this week's Fashion Wedgie winner. A look so loud it practically needed a volume. Warning. Warning. We also teased about next week's dare. Wear it with pride. You've got time to dig something ridiculous out of the closet. Embrace the cringe, people. Time Warp Thursday. Thursday turned mysterious as we stepped into the unknown with a journey through time travel, UFO sightings, and the case of the Somerton Man. We laid out the basics of time travel theories, the physics, the paradoxes, and the pop culture takes. Then scanned the skies for strange sightings from history. We closed with a deep dive into one of the most puzzling cold cases on record. A man found dead on an Australian beach, a scrap of paper in his pocket, and no clear identity to this day. No answers, no echoes, and a whole lot to think about. So that was the week. Part inspiration, part investigation, part pure chaos. We laughed, we learned, we maybe questioned the timeline a little. And now it's Friday. The week's behind us, the weekend is ahead, and we've got more to come. So next up, weekend plans, Crow Rules project updates, and a preview of today's main event. Our 1 hour featured interview with incomparable Claude Beauty. But that's not going to happen because I didn't get the interview today. We had to reschedule. So, alright, now that we've wrapped up the weekend review, let's look ahead to the weekend. Whether you're ready to unplug and unwind, explore something new, or hunker down and knock out a few to-dos. Here's what's on the radar. Starting with the local vibe. The weather here in the Pacific Northwest is giving us a mix of sun and those familiar cool breezes. It's not quite beach weather, but it's perfect for a walk at Fort Silicon Park, catching up with friends at American Lake, or grabbing a seat on a patio somewhere. maybe sipping a honey lavender latte from Black Bear Coffee Company on Gravity Lake Drive. If you haven't tried it, you're missing out. Now, while Summerfest is still a week or so away, the energy is already building. It's one of Lakewood's biggest annual celebrations. And people are already talking about the food trucks, the music lineup, and the return of those community vibes we all missed during the off season. I'm hoping to swing by during it to catch some local performances, maybe grab a snack or two from a vendor, and, report back what happened. Maybe some video, maybe some pictures, who knows. On the project front, I'll be honest, the video yearbook idea hasn't quite taken off yet. We're still in the early stages of figuring out how to structure it, who's going to be involved, and what the workflow should look like. It's definitely a work in progress, but that's okay. Not every creative spark catches fire right away. The goal is still the same, to build a student-led space where stories, memories, and real moments can be captured and shared. When the timing lines up, we'll be ready to roll. As for Crow Rules Entertainment and Talk Radio, this weekend is more about looking inward than launching anything major. I'm spending some much needed time cleaning up the apartment because, let's be real, it's got a little out of hand. Organizing files, clearing mental and physical space, and mapping out what's next for the show. Future episodes, new guest segments, partnership follow-ups. I've got a few pages in my notebook of even more ideas bouncing around my brain. It's not flashy, but it's part of the grind, part of the growth. And honestly, weekends like this are where some of the best ideas start forming. So whether you're out making memories or inside making progress, I hope your weekend brings a little clarity, a little calm, and maybe a little momentum. Now, to Crow's Corner. If you're new here, this is where I stop reading headlines, stop doing segments, and just talk. Like I'm sitting on the edge of my bed with a cup of coffee, staring out the window, and finally letting the weight off my chest. And maybe you had one of those weeks too. This week was full of moments that felt like failure, like I was falling short over and over again. And yet here I am, still showing up, still breathing, still pushing through the static, because sometimes that's the only win you get, the fact that you didn't give up. Let's start with counseling at Greater Lakes. Now listen, I've been to therapy before. I've sat in a room, I've done the nodding, said the polite stuff, but this time I walked in differently. Maybe it's because life lately has been like a slow leak, not enough to explode, but just enough to wear me down until I'm dry. So when I sat down with that counselor, something in me said, just say it. So I did. Not everything, but I let one brick fall from the wall. One honest sentence. I told him I was tired, not physically, but tired of performing. Tired of acting like I've got everything together when I don't. And for once, someone didn't try to fix it. He just sat with it. And that was enough for now. Enough to make me think, okay, maybe I'll go back next week. That's progress. Now, let me shift to something heavier, caregiving. My mom, God bless her, she's not in the best of health. And every day without fail, Jonathan, Jonathan, Jonathan. Sometimes I hear my name in my dreams. And I'll be honest, it's not always said with love. Sometimes it feels like a plea. Sometimes like a demand. And sometimes it just feels like a weight I can't put down. There are no siblings stepping in. No rotation of helpers. Just me. Me doing the meds. Me cooking. Me making sure she gets to appointments. Me cleaning up when things go wrong. and things do go wrong. It's exhausting. And there are moments late at night when the house is quiet and I finally sit down where I wonder, who's taking care of me? Life with my brother. Then there's my brother who's on the spectrum. And if you've never lived with someone who's autistic, especially someone with behavioral extremes, it's hard to explain what it's like. This week he was extra sharp. Not physically, emotionally. The kind of sharp where you feel like you're walking barefoot on thumbtacks. He knows how to provoke, whether he means to or not. And sometimes I wonder if he knows how close I am to breaking. He'll slam a door, crank the volume, storm out of a room, and all I want is a moment of silence. Just 5 minutes of nothing. But instead, it's chaos. And I keep telling myself, he's not doing this on purpose. But some days, it doesn't matter, because my nervous system can't tell the difference. And then the failed pitch to the Lakewood Police Department. This one stung. I've been working hard on growing this show, building bridges, creating something real for the community. So when I got to the meeting with the Lakewood Police Department, I had hope. I thought maybe they'll see the potential. Maybe we can create something together, humanize the badge, give a voice to the voiceless, meet in the middle. But instead, I got told in a polite professional tone, your audience isn't quite big enough. Translation, you're not important. You don't matter yet. Come back when you're famous. That hits hard because I've poured everything into this. And it's not about ego. It's about wanting to make a difference. And being told you're not enough when you've given your all, that breaks something inside you. But you pick it up and keep on walking. Now, Cloud Beauty, the reschedule. Now, we were supposed to do the interview this week. But guess who stayed up until 5 a.m. the night before? Scrolling, editing, overthinking, not even being productive, just spiraling. And then I overslept. Slept right through the recording window. Woke up with that pit in my stomach. So I wrote the email, owned it, asked to reschedule. They said yes, graciously, probably sometime next week or the next couple weeks. But the part that hurts, it wasn't the reschedule, it was that I did it to myself. Self-sabotage, that thing I do when I'm running on empty. And maybe you do it too. Because when your cup is empty and you're still pouring, things start to slip. But I got the second chance and I'll make it count. Now, the wife's roller coaster. Marriage is beautiful, but it's also hard. This week with my wife was unpredictable. One moment she was buzzing, talking fast, dreaming big, laughing like the world made sense. The next day she was quiet, distant, not even tired, gone, emotionally checked out. It's like weather. Sunny one day, stormy the next. And you don't know whether to bring an umbrella or sunglasses. I love her, but loving someone through their highs and lows while managing your own highs and lows, that's a full-time job. And sometimes I wish I could just pause both of us, give us both a breath, let the world slow down. But life doesn't pause, so you hold hands when you can, and when you can't, you just wait. And hope you're both still standing when the fog lifts. Finally, this week wasn't full of wins, but it was full of effort, and effort matters. It counts, even when no one else sees it. I showed up to therapy. I took care of my mom. I didn't explode at my brother. I faced rejection without quitting. I owned my screw up and rescheduled with grace. I stayed in my marriage even when it got tough. And you know what? If that's all I did this week, if all I managed was to keep going, then I'm calling that a win. And if you're still here, still listening, still breathing, still trying to hold your life together with duct tape and caffeine, then you're winning too. You're not failing. You're surviving. And that's brave. So that's all for Crow's Corner tonight. Wherever you are, whoever you are, I see you, I hear you, and you matter. Be gentle with yourself. I'll be here next week, same time, same place, with Crow's Corner on Friday, finally Friday. Next up, time for one of my favorite parts of Finally Friday, the top 5 things I survived this week. Because, let's be real, some weeks feel like a full-on obstacle course, and just crossing the finish line deserves its own parade. So without further ado, here's my personal survival list for the past 7 days. Number 5, my first session at Greater Lakes Mental Health. Let me tell you, walking into that building took a lot of courage. Mental health matters, but it's not always easy to face your own stuff head on. I made the appointment, I showed up, and I talked. That right there is a win. For anyone out there thinking about reaching out for help, do it. You're worth it. Number 4, a failed meeting with the chief of police. Yep, it flopped. Schedules didn't align, wires got crossed, and the meeting I hoped would open doors didn't. But hey, I'm still standing. Not every door opens on the first knock. Sometimes you just try again, or find a new door, or build your own door. Either way, the mission continues. Number 3, my brother's controlling ways. Woo, family dynamics. That's a whole other podcast episode. It's tough when love and frustration come in the same package. But I'm learning to set boundaries, breathe through the tension, and not let someone else's chaos become my own. Number 2, cooking hamburger helper without milk. Look, desperate times calls for creative substitution. Let's just say water is not a suitable replacement. The taste, questionable. The texture, suspicious. The lesson, always check the fridge before you open the box. And the number 1 thing I survived this week, life. All of it. The ups, the downs, the middle of the night worry spirals, the early morning alarms, the awkward conversations, the unexpected kindnesses, the tiny victories, the quiet defeats. Life is a lot, and we live it. That counts for something. That counts for everything. Wait, you can't hear? Hold on, let me check something. Should be able to hear. The heck? Nobody can hear me? And check something here. Hold on, folks. If you can hear me, hold on. I don't know. I got to check something real quick. Okay, I can kind of hear it, so I don't know. Yeah, so the volume seems to be working. If anybody else can't hear, let me know, because I can hear it. Anyways, so that's my list. What about you? What nearly took you out this week? And what did you stand back up from? Drop me a line, send me a voice note, or tag me in your own top 5. I want to hear your survivor stories, big or small. And remember, sometimes the win isn't flashy. It's just making it to Friday with all your limbs intact and your coffee cup still standing. Okay, Crow's Weekly Awards, Lakewood edition. So, hey, Lakewood, welcome to something new here on Talk Radio Finally Friday. It's the debut of Crow's Weekly Awards Lakewood Edition. Lakewood Edition. Every week going forward, we're celebrating the best, the weirdest, and the most memorable moments happening right here in our town. And I'm not just talking about the usual stuff. No, this is all about the everyday stories, the local legends, the unexpected surprises, and everything in between that makes Lakewood truly one of a kind. Now, before we jump into naming winners, and trust me, we'll get there sooner or later, I want to take a moment to introduce you to the full lineup of awards we'll be handing out each week. Think of this as your official preview, your chance to get familiar, and maybe even start thinking about who or what should win these titles. So here we go. Rain or Shine Award. Always relevant in the Pacific Northwest, especially during unpredictable weather weeks. Hidden Gems. A Hidden Gem Award. Great for local businesses, parks, or people spotlights. Keep listeners discovering new things. Did That Really Happen Award? Always room for something wild or funny each week. A listener favorite. Crow's Choice Award. Lets you personalize the episode with your heartfelt pick. My own little award. Neighborhood Hero Award. Encourages community nominations and good feels. Lakewood Eats Award. Food wins every week. Easy tie-in to local business. What food's the best? Where do you go to eat that's the best? Crow's Wait, What Award. Excellent for wild news, funny signs, or social post find. Stumbling over my words over here. Easy. Oh wait. Good Neighbor Award. Easy to source and fosters positive community identity. Civic Spotlight Award. Keeps the show civically relevant. Local leaders will appreciate the nods. Youth Star Award. Keeps the show connected to schools, youth programs, and families. Lakewood Laughs Award. The comedic capstone. Great for ending the show with a chuckle. So Lakewood, those are your Crow's Weekly Awards. Over the coming weeks, we'll be announcing winners, sharing stories, and celebrating you, our incredible community. But first, I want to hear from you. Got a story, event, person, or moment that deserves a shout out? Send it my way on social media or email. Let's make sure your favorites get the spotlight they deserve. Thanks for tuning in to Crow's Awards. Ha! Get ready, because starting next week, these awards are coming at you full force. And remember, the email addresses for me are in the description. From Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All the emails are there. So, anyway, call to action. Hey, Lakewood, now that you know all about the Crow's Weekly Awards, it's your turn to help pick the winners. Got a story, event, person, or downright weird moment from around town that you think deserves a shout out? Maybe you spotted an awesome local business, witnessed a heroic act, or just saw something that made you laugh out loud. Whatever it is, I want to hear about it. Send me your nomination. Shoot me a message on Instagram at talkradio2025 or drop me an email at finallytalkradio@gmail.com. Don't be shy. Your story could be featured in the next episode, and you might just see your name or your pick's name up here in the Weekly Awards spotlight. Let's celebrate Lakewood together. Can't wait to hear from you. Wow, what a conversation that would have been with Claude Beauty. Raw, real, and totally unforgettable. Huge thanks to her, they, him for being ready to share their story, their passion, and their creative vision with us. If you're walking away from this episode inspired or curious to dive deeper, be sure to check out their latest projects and social channels. all linked in the show notes for you. Now, before we wrap things up this week, I want to share something exciting. Finally, Friday is no longer just a simple weekly wrap-up. It's evolving into a real community hub, a place where connection, creativity, safety, and fun come together to close out your week on a high note. Very soon, we will be rolling out some brand new segments designed to keep you informed and engaged, shining a spotlight on what makes Lakewood such a remarkable place and how each of us can contribute to making it even better. Here's a sneak peek of what's coming your way. First responder focus. Rotating features like Behind the Badge, Firehouse Files, Hospital Highlights, Safety Tech Talk, and Rescue Roundup. We'll be sharing stories from the courageous men and women who keep our community safe every day. Their challenges, their victories, and what drives them to serve. Community safety checks. Timely alerts, crime tips, and seasonal warnings to help you stay aware and protect yourself and your loved ones. Because knowledge is power, and we want you empowered. Shop talk and startup spotlight, highlighting the small business owners and entrepreneurs fueling Lakewood's economy and creative spirit. Whether you're looking for your next favorite local spot or want to support hometown talent, these chats will give you the stories behind the storefronts. Free and fun, your go-to guide for free or low-cost events around Lakewood each weekend, from outdoor concerts to art fairs and family activities. We will help you fill your weekend with great experience. Open mic check, previews of live performances, open mic nights, and creative showcases happening in and around Lakewood, shining a light on artists, musicians, and performers who you'll want to catch. Lakewood Listens. This is your space. Listener shout-outs, reactions, community voices, and stories. Because this show isn't just mine, it's ours. I want to celebrate you, hear from you, and build a space where every voice counts. The goal, to close every week strong with safety, entertainment, community love, and a little bit of fun. Whether you're tuning in from Lakewood or anywhere around the globe, we're keeping it local in spirit, but global in reach. Alright, now for some real talk. About that Claude Beauty interview I teased earlier, well, your stupid host here completely forgot some key responsibilities. Stayed up all night, and then ended up sleeping half the day away. Yep, rookie move. Because of that, the interview isn't in this episode, but it has been rescheduled for some time in the next few weeks. Apologies for the mix-up and the delay, but I promise it'll be worth the wait. We'll get Claude Beauty on here soon with all the fire, authenticity, and creativity you expect from her, they, them, him. Thanks for sticking with me, though, through the curveballs. So thank you for being part of this journey. Your support, energy, and stories makes talk radio more than just a podcast. It's a community. Have an incredible weekend. Stay safe. Stay curious. And as always, keep being your amazing selves. I'm Jonathan Riley, and this has been Finally Friday on Talk Radio. I'll see you next week. Peace.